boss, or at least my boss, had a bookstore, a little bookstore, and they sold candy and magazines and candy and cigarettes. And there, that's where I usually worked. And the boss, they give people, they hadn't been there very long, a big box of Harvey Girl chocolates.
Oh, yeah?
They're like Russell Stovers.
Yeah.
Probably that's where they came from. But Mr. Moore, I remember his name, Mr. Moore said, no, I didn't get, people been there a long time, got a turkey. And
a turkey?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, you know, woman been there 14 years, was making $1.14 an hour.
Yeah.
After 14 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, they were cheapskates.
Yeah. Well, maybe she was just lousy at her job.
No, they, you know, just being a clerk, I mean.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't. Some of them, one of them was 80 or past. When she didn't show up, you know, wondered, Mrs. Shell,
Yeah.
the homely old bat. I found out they found her in her apartment, and she was unconscious. She had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And fortunately, they said she wasn't in pain, but she didn't live very long. I mean, somebody missed her. But she was, anyway, Mr. Moore said, no, I couldn't have a box of candy because I wouldn't work for him. I made an arrangement on New Year's. This Lutheran girl, she said she would kiss me at midnight.
Yeah.
But then she changed her mind.
Oh.
But
those Lutherans.
That's when there was it was Mrs. Shell, the old one.
Yeah.
Well, the place was packed. I mean, the Union Station was. And that's when people still traveled by train.
Yeah.
And that's when I was in there. And President Truman, former President Truman, came up to me.
Yeah.
With a couple magazines, you know, and gave them to me to pay for them. And the bookstore was packed with people.
Yeah.
Including Mrs. Shell. And nobody, I was the only one that recognized him.
Really?
And that was when he spoke, and it was his voice. I looked at him and I thought, could this be? And when he talked, he said, here, I want these, son. And when I mentioned it to one black woman, and she said, I said, you know, we just standing behind you. She said, no, and I said, former President Truman. She said, oh. I told Mrs. Shell, you know, that he was in there.
Yeah.
And she said, well, why didn't you tell me? And I said, I don't think I know how type of person that Truman was. I don't think he would have appreciated me saying, look, everybody, here's former President Truman. Because I was the only one that recognized him.
And he handed the magazines to you to ring them up or something?
Yeah. And that's why if I ever got on Jeopardy, I had one good story.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of good stories, but...
I sold, I mean, he hated Nixon. They were not friends. I sold 2 portraits of Abraham Lincoln. I mean, of Richard Nixon. I sold 2 portraits of Richard Nixon to Harry Truman. And which is true.
Yeah.
Because there are pictures, probably paintings. There are pictures of Truman, a picture of Truman on Time, and one on Newsweek. And he said, I guess I'll read the dirty sheets tonight. And I said, well, I knew Time was Republican. I didn't know Newsweek was. And he says, yeah, they're both dirty sheets. And then he said, did you take out a dime for the newspaper? And I said, no, I didn't. So then he paid for the newspaper.
Yeah.
And went on his merry way. And once I was walking on High Street, Main and Rain and High, I guess, was maybe the 12th and High.